So, anyway, Barbenheimer is a big major thing on social media. And it's weird how many people actually don't know what it is or what the hell is going on with it. So, I think we will start by just going to Wikipedia. And simply defining it. First of all, Barbenheimer is the internet phenomenon that began circulating on social media before the simultaneous theatrical release of the two blockbuster films, Barbie and Oppenheimer. The word is a portmanteau of the film's titles, Barbie and Oppenheimer. Like the dichotomy of Barbie, the fantasy comedy by Greta Gerwig about the fashion doll Barbie, and Oppenheimer, the epic biographical thriller by Christopher Nolan about physicist J. Robert Oppenheimer, scientific director of the Manhattan Project, which developed the first nuclear weapons during World War II, would prompt a comedic response from internet users, like memes and merchandise. The films are extreme opposites, and the phenomenon is the movie event of the year. It's an instance of counter-programming, and many suggest to watch the films as a double feature. Apparently, even Tom Cruise, while his new movie is out, made a big deal. Sure you do. Made a big deal about buying tickets to both Barbie and Oppenheimer, to get in on the phenomenon. So let's take a look. First, this tweet, a collection of some of the Barbenheimer memes and tweets I've saved to my phone. These two women look like they'd be in one of the most comical lesbian relationships to exist. Hey, that's not fair. That is not fair. Cillian Murphy may be super hot, but let's not. I'm sure there's already tons of fan fiction out there. I don't even want to bother trying to look up that shit. Barbie. The world forever changes. In a mushroom cloud. Inside you, there are two wolves. She's a physicist, he's just Ken. Cute. You cannot rest with Cillian Murphy nearby. Aww. That sucks. Somebody put Ryan Gosling's face on J. Robert Oppenheimer's body. And here's Cillian Murphy as Ken. No, he wouldn't make a good Ken. Even with the high trousers, he's hotter than that. This Barbie is the leader of the pack. Cute. Oppenheimer Barbie. Yeah, there you go. He's in the back seat of Barbie's car. Oh, cute. He's on fire. Pink planes. I guess that's a pink Enola Gay. Behind her? No, 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 Rule 34. Forget it. Nobody looked that shit up. Ooh, a Barbenheimer half and half t-shirt. Ooh, now this is a cute poster art right here. I bet you can buy a copy of this. That's real cute. All of their names are on the cast list. Really cute. Ah ha ha! Wow, pink mushroom clouds. Yup, they got the pink mushroom cloud. Ew! Why would you do this? It's Barbie legs on Killian Murphy. No! With his gut sticking out. Barbenheimer double feature. Well, this doesn't make the Japanese feel any better because they are pissed off to Barbenheimer. The official Japanese Twitter account for the film Barbie has issued an apology for the popular Barbenheimer meme. This response follows significant negative response on Japanese social media spaces to the meme, which fuses Barbie with Oppenheimer. The two films released on the same day in many countries. Many feel that it is inappropriate to pair a serious discussion of nuclear weapons with the comedy of Barbie. Responses to the meme indicate that Barbenheimer makes light of Japan's experience as the only country in the world to experience the bombardment by nuclear weapons. The bombings were highly traumatic events that caused the deaths of tens of thousands and still strongly affect the country today. Notably, Oppenheimer has not yet released in Japan, and there are currently no plans to do so. But Barbie is being released in Japan. Fan pranks are tolerable, but official and corporate pranks will not be tolerated. This is often accompanied by facts or statistics regarding the effects of the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings, images of the destruction of the two cities, or screenshots from Japanese media portraying the events, such as from the film Barefoot Gen. It's a harrowing animated film based on the manga by A-bomb survivor Nakazawa Keiji. A comic explains the Japanese stance in more detail, stating that many don't object to Oppenheimer being made, but find the crossover meme disrespectful as it makes light of a very serious event. And who can blame them? Although, actually, to be honest, I don't honestly think that anybody meant anything by it. Barbenheimer is more or less uh, about the complete opposite subject matter and ambiance of the two films. You have this biographical, dramatic thriller about the life and the work of J. Robert Oppenheimer, who would be the real brains behind the creation of the atomic bombs. And then on the same day, they release Barbie, a fun movie about a doll and her little boyfriend doll with a completely different ambiance. And it's a strange dichotomy. Let's put it that way. I think that's really where all the memes are coming from. The whole Barbenheimer idea. Uh, Certain people are creating a controversy surrounding Barbie, uh, but they're ignoring the controversy surrounding an entire country, an entire population's objection to mingling Barbie with Oppenheimer, the movie. And of course, they're not worried about that. Uh, right wingers the nation over are just furious with Barbie because she's not barefoot in front of a stove and Ken's not beating her with a fish or something like that. This is the only controversy that really warrants any attention. I suppose it is crossing the line a bit to have pink mushroom clouds and showing J. Robert Oppenheimer driving in the back seat of Barbie's convertible. But like these Japanese users on Twitter have stated, memes from fans, just regular people, those can be tolerated. But the movie creators getting in on this, trying to market, get more money off of this crossover merchandise bullshit that's going on, that is what needs to stop. And I agree. That's a bit too much. And here's another story by Elisa Lynn Valdez, MS. Here's another group of people that suffered immensely because of J. Robert Oppenheimer and the creation of the first atomic bombs. Can't wait for the Oppenheimer buzz to die. The bomb those men built, they dropped it on New Mexico to test it. On my mother, when she was 18 months old, in the fallout zone. Of the 21 girls in her high school class, 17 got leukemia. Tell that fucking story, Hollywood. This quote from the New York Times review of the Oppenheimer film. He served as director of a clandestine weapons lab built in a near desolate stretch of Los Alamos in New Mexico. It was inhabited by Hispanos. They were given less than 24 hours to leave. Their farms were destroyed. Many of those families had been on the same land for centuries. The Oppenheimer crew literally shot all their livestock through the head and bulldozed their farms. People fled on foot with nowhere to go. Land rich, money poor. Their land seized by the government. All of the Hispano New Mexico men who were placed by the labs later were hired work with beryllium by Oppenheimer. The white men got protective gear. The Hispano men did not. The Hispano men all died of berylliosis. These were U.S. citizens, folks. Their land taken, animals killed, farms bulldozed, forced to work for the people who took everything from them, and then killed by those people. My mother lived on a farm 87 miles from ground zero. The day the bomb was detonated, there were monsoon storms and winds that carried the mushroom cloud over her town and rained. Her milk was from the cows, water was from the well, vegetables from the garden. Her life was ruined that day at 18 months old. But no, we want more films about the complex and troubled, heroic white men who conducted their genius in a virtually unpopulated place. These are all lies. This is mythology in service to white supremacy and the military industrial complex masquerading as nuanced. Because of what the labs did to the local Hispano people in northern New Mexico, our communities now have the highest rates of heroin overdose deaths in the nation. I didn't know that. The generational trauma and forced poverty is outrageous. We need the real stories behind Oppenheimer to be told. End. Holy crap. I have seen footage of them detonating test bombs. I'm sure everybody's seen it. Detonating test bombs under the ocean and in the middle of southwestern fields, building fake communities with 50s style mannequins of mom and dad with the pipe and little Billy and Susie sitting around the dinner table with bullet holes in their heads and shit. But I have never heard or read about any of this. Go to trinitydownwinders.com to find out more. Do I dare? Tularosa Basin Downwinders Consortium, seeking justice for the unknowing, unwilling, and uncompensated innocent victims of the July 16, 1945 Trinity test in south central New Mexico. Trinity Downwinders, 78 years and waiting. Opinion. What Oppenheimer doesn't tell you about the Trinity test. The TBDC is elated that this long overdue mapping of the Trinity fallout has been produced. Many thanks to the scientist Sebastian Philippe of Princeton University and Susan Alsner and Megan Smith of Shift 7 for their tireless dive into this work. Hopefully, the United States Congress will understand that all of New Mexico received high levels of radioactive fallout from the Trinity bomb and will have the political will to finally deliver justice for the people of New Mexico. Did you know there were families living as close as 12 miles to the Trinity test site in 45, and there were thousands of families living within a 50-mile radius? The bomb was a plutonium-based bomb packed with 13 pounds of weapons-grade plutonium, but only 3 pounds fissioned. The remaining 10 pounds was joined with the soil, sand, animal and plant life and incinerated. The resultant fireball exceeded the atmosphere and penetrated the stratosphere, traveling more than 7 miles high. This bomb produced more heat and light than the sun. Many people we've spoken to that were alive at the time thought they were experiencing the end of the world. Plutonium has a half-life of more than 24,000 years. Once the radioactive ash fell from the sky as fallout, it settled on everything on the soil, in the water, and on the skin of every living thing. Most, if not all, the small villages inside the 50-mile radius of the Trinity site had no running water. Their sources at the time were cisterns, holding ponds, or ditches. All water sources were contaminated. In 1945, there were no grocery stores in the villages surrounding the Trinity site. All the meat, dairy, and produce people consumed was raised, harvested, and grown by them. It too was contaminated. There was an increase in infant mortality in the months following. The national average death rate was 38.3 deaths per thousand live births, and the average in New Mexico was 100.8 deaths per thousand, the highest in the nation. Since 1990, the government has been compensating downwinders who lived adjacent to the Nevada test site. The fund set up to extend compensation and medical care is called the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act, or RECA. The downwinders in New Mexico have never been included or compensated, although they were the first people to be exposed to radiation any place in the world. They were also downwind of the Nevada test site through the summer of '62, well documented. Oh boy, that would be correct then. Before the atomic bombs ever dropped in Japan, these people were suffering and dying from radiation fallout and the ultimate contamination by plutonium of everything they consumed and touched. 78 years later, their descendants have not been paid a cent. There is something to be said for the issues glorifying the mafia. They have a prestige in pop culture that is somewhat divorced from ruthless reality. Oppenheimer also presents itself as more historical than The Godfather. Of course, they take liberties. A critical viewer should still not just take their word for it, but rather than just tell a fictional story, the goal is clearly to tell the story of a monumental time in history. It is particularly harmful to keep silencing the stories of people whose lives were ruined by this time in history and who were silenced at the time. While the common viewer gets a dismissive, virtually uninhabited, the lies of the people in power are propagated. the US nuked a lot of people and never admitted to it. Yes, see Godzilla to find out more. Yeah, no one who saw that film left thinking, fuck yeah, America's the best. Definitely doesn't make J. Robert Oppenheimer look like a hero. They also talk about forcing locals off the land and how the government laughs off the idea of returning it after. Twitter will be like, and then they laugh in the movie. LMFAO, they're so stupid, man. Okay. The whole movie is about how no one is a hero for making atomic weapons. He didn't even think that himself. Fucking thank you. The fact is, the whole project was rushed as hell, too. For God's sake, there was a war of mass genocide happening. Are we not slightly justified when trying to stop the end of whole races of people? Okay, now here we go. Now everybody is, yeah, now everybody's gonna argue with each other over who killed more and therefore is worse, J. Robert Oppenheimer or the Japanese. Huh. No, these people aren't even blaming the bomb for doing what it does. These people are not talking about what the real issue is, what it's saying about what he did, what it would mean, the Pandora's box he opened. They're going to go back and forth, like it's a contest. The Japanese killed these people. Yeah, well, the Germans did this. Yeah, but the Americans created the atomic bomb and dropped it on people. Oh no, but the Japanese killed more. Yeah, but the Germans were still doing this. Yeah, but the Americans didn't know that the Germans were doing. Who cares? What? Yeah, okay. Like, who the fuck cares? Like, it makes it any better. It makes it any better or worse. Who physically killed more people? Or who did what to people before they were killed? And what were their politics? Was it out of racism and homophobia and all that other shit, or was it not? Who cares? Who gives a shit? The Germans, the Japanese, and the Americans. They were all fucking horrible people. They all did heinous, horrible things. The movie is about J. Robert Oppenheimer. That's what it's about. It's about who he was, his work on the A bomb. I think the one message you should be uh, gleaning from this feature, if you want to talk about Oppenheimer, is what the fuck happened, how they pulled this off, and lamenting the Pandora's box they opened on the world. A world that was already going straight to hell. I don't give a fuck about who's better and who's not, because let's take the body count and compare numbers. Are you out of your fucking mind? I'm so sick of this bullshit. That's creepy. Uh-oh. Oh my god. Oh boy. Oh, Caitlyn Jenner didn't like being featured in DeSantis's homophobic ad. What a primary. My dad stormed the beaches of Normandy and survived. I became the world's greatest athlete in our bicentennial and was the first person in the world to put up our flag. Why? Because I love America. Meanwhile, Ron paints me as a deviant in society. Go home, Ron DeSantis. Didn't Caitlyn Jenner work on Fox News? What did your dad storming the beaches of Normandy have to do with you? Doesn't Caitlyn Jenner hate on other LGBTQ people? She should try walking into a bathroom at a Trump rally and see how well they treat her. Yep, exactly. I don't think Jenner even supports trans people using the bathrooms they want. That's like the main Republican talking point on trans people, and she is a hardcore conservative. As long as it benefits her. Exactly. Buckle up, buckaroo! Let's not forget she's also a drug addled murderer that only got away with it because money. Another rich asshole that yanks the ladder up and kicks you off the roof if you get too close to the top. She definitely falls into the camp of the only valid transition is my own. She thinks she's the only person who can be trans. Everyone else is just making it up. Oh boy. Yeah, that needs to be said. What farmers getting sued? I didn't see anything about that. Trans porn is more common in red states. Just throwing out a random tidbit of knowledge for the giggles. Doesn't mean they won't hate her and treat her like shit. Also, to be fair, Caitlyn Jenner is a piece of shit. Take homophobic Christians. They actually think everybody thinks the way they do. That's a question for Mike Pence. Thank you, thank you. It definitely would have helped to have comprehensive sex ed because religion not only hinders and stunts the emotional and psychological development of a person, it also deprives them of countless basic coping and processing skills that are invaluable internally and socially. This obviously makes a person more dependent on their church and so forth. What farmer getting sued by his neighbor? Huh, liberals make me want to have sex with trans people by not keeping trans people in the closet away from my horny eyes. Women have been dealing with this mentality for millennia. Who knew that the person pledging to support Trump and advocating for him was a bad person? She made her bed with transphobes. You can't beg to be discriminated against like she has to others and then play the victim card. I didn't think leopards would eat my face. It's like I used to tell the guys when we were preparing to play Alabama, I hate abortion. When you find out you're the reason Space Force isn't relocating to Alabama because you're a football coach trying to hold the president and military hostage to your dumb fucking views. No, I don't want to see that. Ooh, I just inherited an 1864 Steinway and Sons Style 1 Rococo grand piano. Oh my god, that's beautiful. And it's in mint condition. Sell that bitch and make a fortune. (1988) South Africa. This is the world into which Elon Musk was born and raised. Take some time and study what's being conveyed here. Doesn't even look like a rich house. That place actually looks shittier than the house I grew up in. Image genuinely turns my stomach. Striking difference in facial expressions and the positioning. I have not seen Nope. I've got to watch that. Literally looks like someone photoshopped the 1980s with the 1780s. Ah, I don't think I have any coins. They're getting rid of awards. Read up on apartheid. Yes, we're familiar with apartheid. Right. Like, bitch, at least look like your evil landlord landowners with slaves and don't give off the impression that everything is family ties on the right side of the moon, on the right side of the room. Well, that's the point, isn't it? That's the whole point. That's what they wanted. Damn, that kid probably isn't even mid 40s today. Crazy when you realize how recent all of this is. Anyone who thinks racism disappeared overnight when apartheid ended is delusional. When I was in Australia, I met this guy who said his parents moved there from South Africa and said something to the effect of they saw the writing on the wall. A lot moved to America too. A lot of the families, the worst families, knew they'd be the first ones getting lynched due to their reputation in their community, so they fled. Doesn't apply to all, but boy oh boy, I've known a lot of South African migrants in Australia, and 9 out of 10 of them are the most wildly racist people I've ever met. Half of these SA expats talk about ethnic cleansing like it's a walk in the park. So, did they get any accountability afterwards? Because you can leave, but what they did must have left traces. Have any been prosecuted or something? At one stage, conservative politicians in Australia were floating the idea of providing special refuge visas to white South Africans. So, here's a guy who literally defined the term writing on the wall. I don't think that's what she was asking. This guy's saying, to be fair, under a post about how white South Africans are all racist. I wonder what could be the other side of that argument. Oh, it's a bunch of super racist horseshit pointing out that he is also a racist. Trevor Noah's book was incredibly eye opening. I used to travel there frequently for work. My first night was in Durban. Me and my Xhosa and Zulu co workers went out for dinner. We were quite literally not served. I caught people staring angrily at us. It was so jarring I could not process it. We ended up leaving after 30 minutes of being coldly ignored by the wait staff. Unfortunately, as American, I've seen racism before, but that was like stepping back in time. I'll never forget it. When conservatives say make America great again or we want to take our country back, this is the kind of shit they mean. Voting matters. I'm not American, but I was reading the posts about liberals wanting to open more public swimming pools and how people are getting freaked out by it. Someone in the comments explained the reason they were shut down, and I'm floored by those reasons. Yup, they'd rather have no pool for anyone at all than to share theirs with black people. They would rather vote against things that would make everyone's lives better than have it to make sure those people don't take advantage. They know this, though. There is nothing they value more than the sense that those people are beneath them, and thus they have a real place in the world. How fucking sad is that? These guys have wanted all of this forever. Trump was just their green light. Well, duh. Young voters are coming out every fucking day. That's why they want to raise the voting age. Well, duh. The best shot they have is in the old white racists. I guess they should have thought a little harder before their own ignorance killed a shit ton of them off. What was it? 1.2 million that they killed off? Well, anyway, I am done. I am on a World War Z fiasco, streak, cavalcade of World War Z videos. And I will surely be back with some more of that tonight. Have fun, everybody.